Hi everyone! Do you hear all that noise in the background? There's so many bugs about and it's just wonderful. I mean, when I look back at this time last year, we were just getting into the bushfires. There was no rainwater around, there was smoke in the air, and it was just silence when I came out here. I know I did comment on that a few times in the videos I made back then, but today is just so different. Everything is buzzing and happy. I can hear birds and crickets and cicadas. It's fantastic. And as well as that, there's lots more flowers and plants. I've got my tomatoes coming along, my vine crops out the front are doing well. There's heaps to take a look at, so let's get into it now. I'm standing in the raised garden bed area, and as I speak I can feel and see the little droplets of rain falling down. We are being completely spoiled at this stage with all of the rain that we've received over the last few weeks. When I was a little girl, one of my favourite trees back in Dublin, Ireland, were the weeping willows. We had quite a few of them in local parks, especially in Dublin. And looking at this Australian acacia or wattle, it really reminds me of my childhood. It's not all varieties of wattle, but this particular one is very similar to the weeping willow, with its branches and foliage sweeping downwards. I may have mentioned it before, but when we moved into this house, this large rotary clothesline was here, and I'm telling you, even though it's quite old, it does a fantastic job. Now just bear with me. The reason why I'm showing you this is because one whole side of it, this one here, I can't use anymore. I can't hang anything on it or even move it around too much because this tree has just got so large. You can see there that the branches have kind of taken over, drooping over the line. And you know, I could trim it back, but I'm actually going to leave it because it's only one section, and although we are a family of 5, I have more than enough room on these 3 other parts to hang up our clothes. During the week I made an unexpected discovery over here which really gives me a taste of the summer to come. So at the base of this apple tree I have the upcycled fire pit, and you can see this apple tree is so happy that it has grown quite substantially over the last couple of months. So much so that its branches here have moved over to this section covering this container. I mean, before, a few months ago, there was nothing here in this area. So I mean, I'm quite happy that the tree is doing so well, but I may have to come in here now and cut back some of these branches, even though I don't know, I'm kind of thinking I don't really want to because it's got so much fruit on it. But yeah, I've got the zinnia plant in here, and I mean, it's just so great to see that beautiful bright pink colour in the garden. I can't find the tag for this one, but I think it was from a mixed pack. Just opposite to the container down in this garden bed, I want to show you a new plant that I purchased. It's a salvia called Kisses and Wishes. Here's the tag. Oh, I do love my salvias. They're so hardy in this climate. And the great thing about this particular one is that they donate a certain percentage of the sale to the Make-A-Wish Foundation here in Australia. This plant really represents what I'm trying to do here in the garden. I really want to introduce a lot more perennial plants that kind of are really tough and hardy in my climate, especially the natives. Because, you know, I'm thinking of my future now, and at the moment the garden is made up of a lot of annuals and biannuals, which I grow from seed, which is quite time consuming. And yeah, I'm just thinking about what I'm going to do now that my youngest child's at primary school. I really want to start thinking about maybe you know, going back into the workforce, and if I do that I just won't have as much time out here, unfortunately. I mean, if I could do this all the time I would absolutely love that. Yeah, so that's the plan. I'm going to try and put some more perennials in the garden, whether that be buying them like that salvia, probably more so, you know, taking cuttings and divisions from plants buying a lot more tube stocks and just bulking out what I have here, the variety, yeah, and create more of a perennial garden. What you're looking at here is called chocolate cosmos. This particular variety makes a really nice change to your more common cosmos, which have in general lighter coloured flowers. And believe it or not, this chocolate cosmos even smells like chocolate too. Let's hope I get a lot of flowers off this plant during the next few months, and I'm happy to see it's covered in little flower buds. There's something over here I really want to show you. It has been the best year for these nasturtiums. They have grown like absolute crazy. Oh, they are just like taking over. Look at them climbing up the kale. Do you see? There you go. And they're even over on the kale down here too. Just completely trailing everywhere. It's so funny. I wish I could leave them the way they are, but this is the area that I'm going to be clearing out soon to put in probably some amaranth that I have in my little seedling area. I'm trying out a few new varieties this year, as I'd mentioned before, and I think I may put them just here to replace the kale. If we take a closer look, I have noticed that some of the foliage isn't looking too great on these plants. I can see the same little orange markings on top of the foliage, and I wonder now if I turn it around, will I see anything here on the back? I don't really notice anything. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on this. I'm probably gonna come in here now and remove all of this foliage because I don't want it to spread to my other plants. Can you imagine if all of these died back after all of this time of, you know, getting it ready and cultivating the ground, planting the seeds? It'd be such a shame, and it would look so bare as well. They really do make for a fantastic living mulch for our orange tree. There's a container down here that I'm so happy with. It's turned out really lovely. I think these flowers really complement each other, and their contrasting foliage work well together too. Check out how much the dahlias here by our lemon tree have grown. Some of them even are starting to produce little flower buds like this one here. Beside the dahlias, I did some transplanting into this area. So this is a salvia that was in a section that was getting swamped out by a perennial shrub. And then over here is my Verbena bonariensis, which was in the front garden. I don't think it was getting enough sun, so I moved it to this area, and I'll see how it goes in here this summer. And just beside those plants and the dahlias, I put in some of my corn. This variety is the glass gem corn. I put in a grid of them in this section. They all seem to be doing pretty well. I have lost a couple of plants so far, but they're pretty easy to replace. I have some sweet peas on the archway into the fan garden. Way less of these flowers than last year, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Some years certain crops do really well, and others they're pretty dismal. And I have to say, it was really hard battling the slugs and snails, keeping them away from my little sweet pea seedlings. So yeah, I'm just going to make the most of this. I have this plant here and a couple of others scattered around the garden. Not huge bouquets this year, but you know, it's better than nothing. This area is my new dahlia patch. I showed you here a few weeks ago. I've got 6 varieties in here. You can tell it's way less cared for. A lot of weeding needs to be done, and I need to bring in some compost, more compost too. So at the back there, that's all lemon balm. And yeah, but despite, you know, I haven't been doing much to them, they've grown quite a lot. And also there's a flower bud. The one thing I haven't done in here though is I haven't pinched out the tops of the shoots. So I did show you a few weeks ago that you can do that with dahlias, like the way you can with a lot of other plants. If you pinch out the top section, it will encourage more side shoots. So say for example, if I pinch this part out, I'll probably use a secateurs, a clean secateurs. It would encourage these side shoots. And as I said before, I don't mean to repeat myself, but just in case you haven't seen the other video, they will give you longer, stronger stems, and it will help with your dahlias when using them as cut flowers. Look what I just spotted on the way to the greenhouse to show you in there. This is a Gaillardia called Arizona Sun. It does. It looks like a sunset, doesn't it, with those gorgeous, bright, vibrant colours. Over here in the greenhouse, I really want to, put a bit of effort into this area, because some of these plants need to be put out into the ground. Like these are Rob's spaghetti squash. I always get stuck saying that word. I'm going to put them with the other vining crops. I'll show you them in a few minutes. And then, yeah, I've got some other nice things popping through. These are some tall mix pin cushions. Oh, I still have these snapdragons that I haven't potted up yet. Like, I'm really pushing it with them. Down here I have some sweet dumpling. I'm going to put them out too. And over here, these are some Tennessee dancing gourds, which I'm planning on putting on some of the archways, because they are quite small, and I think they'll be able to withstand, growing up that frame. They won't be too heavy, they won't pull it down, there's no risk of them pulling it down or anything. And then here I've got some Cape gooseberries. This is my blue Rottnest daisy. For some reason I only had one that germinated, but one's better than nothing. And in fact, I actually ended up sowing a fresh lot of these in here, so I might have a bit better luck with them. And yeah, there's just a lot of stuff going on here that I need to sort out. What's this? This is the Scabious Merlot mix pin cushion. No sign of any germination, but I'll just do another sowing of them. I almost forgot to show you these ones as well. So they are some winter melons, which are a gourd. I've never grown them before. I'm excited to try them out, and I'll also be putting them out the front if I have enough room. Otherwise, I will definitely find another place for them, because I really want to give them a try this year. I'm now standing in the front garden looking at the area where I put a lot of my vining crops. So I've already planted out 4 mounds. In this one here I have the Lebanese cucumber, which I had said to you that I was going to put growing up trellises, but I hadn't had that area ready. So I just put them in here. I'll see how they go trailing along the ground, and I can always plant some more out in the back garden. This one is called Zucchini Gold Rush, and beside that one there I have this yellow button squash, and over here is another zucchini called Costa Romanesque. I put down some more cardboard this week. I need to get some more mulch in here, and then I'm going to put out those other seedlings that I showed you in the greenhouse. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 more mounds available. And then, just a bit of tidying up, and then it should be right to go. And I'm quite happy I got these in early, because look at this one. It's already starting to produce. It's so sunny. It was meant to be overcast, but I'm still going to power through this, because this is an area I was going to show you last week and never got around to it. Do you remember I put some tomato plants out here in the front garden? Well, here's a little update on them. I have fruit set on a lot of them. So these ones here on this plant are called black cherry. I know it's so bad, I haven't tied some of them up yet. So these ones are called honeybee. And I should really know better than this to be leaving them in this state. Especially with the plant on the ground like this, you make it more prone to disease, especially after the rain and the heat. What am I like leaving it like this? Maybe after I finish this week's garden update, this will be the first thing I do before I collect my kids from school. This plant is tomato ice, and I'll just show you how I prune them. I just do it lots of different ways, but this one here, I've done it into 2 main stems, and then I just pinch out the suckers, so it's kind of like nice and free of foliage here, so it gets a lot of nice airflow, which is really important with tomato plants. And then I just come in here and just tied it up along this trellis. This one here is yellow pear, and I've noticed there's quite a lot of flowers on it. And then here is where it gets a bit messy because I haven't done any pruning and it's really embarrassing, but I'm just going to show you. So these ones are my blueberry tomatoes, and then this plant here is the gold rush, and it looks like hopefully now I'll get a lot of fruit on this. I'd spoken about this one. Oh look, I just spotted some. There you go. I've spoken about this plant before, this variety. It gets really good reviews, heavy producer, so I'm excited to try it out. Where does the time go to? I'm afraid we've come to the end of this week's garden update. I hope you've enjoyed taking a look around and seeing what I've been up to this week, and I will see you all again next Friday.